and they control. But that's what he's building. And go figure, the brain chip is called Neuralink, link the human brain to computers, and then he creates Starlink, and then your brain and body, inside, outside, will be linked to a global system.
Now, when is that supposed to be completed?
Well, he's already got a big chunk of the planet already done. Just go to Starlink. They boast, hey, we got another 40 satellites up. Oh, this batch we got another 80 satellites. So and it's not coming. It's already started. Many people are already jumping on for the service of Starlink. And again, that's how they pitch it. Well, those of you who live out in the middle of nowhere, you're always suffering from not really having a very good internet connection. Well, not now. Thanks to Elon Musk. He's blanketing the planet with Starlink. So again, you can see it all coming together. And again, I tell people, this is the only book that tells you exactly how it's going to play out, the Bible. God predicted this. He's been telling this for 2,000 years. This is what the last days are going to look like. Why? Because he doesn't want us to go there, into that. And you can escape it through his son, Jesus Christ. We've just asked. And so, but my point is, but people aren't in the Bible. Or dare I say, you go to an average church today, they don't even talk about prophecy. Are you kidding me? They don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And so people are left in the dark about what's going on. I've used this analogy many times. Imagine if I said, hey, Janie, thanks for this interview, man. Appreciate being on. I'm going to send you a 1,000-piece puzzle. But the puzzle gets there, and I didn't include the cover. So you got all these 1,000 pieces there of the puzzle, but you don't got any perspective. It's like, what is it a picture of? I don't know how to put this together. Granted, if you're, very motivated, you could eventually, through complete trial and error and randomness, you could start to somehow put it together to figure out, okay, what's this supposed to look like? But here's my point. How much faster could you put that puzzle piece together if you had the cover? That's what the importance of this is. This is the only book on the planet that gives you the cover of how the last days are going to look like. And then when you start to see the piece with like, oh, I see what Klaus is doing. It fits in with this. Oh, Elon Musk. Oh, he's the puzzle piece that fits in right here. Oh, what's going on? The IoT. Hey, I see how it all fits together. You can put it together very quickly. And that's why I don't think it's by chance at the same time when all this is going on, and we have the privilege to know exactly where this is all heading, the church is silent on it. I call that spiritual warfare.
I totally agree with you. It's very, very scary to me, or people believing in preterism and saying everything has already come to pass. So there's no. I'm like, you know what? You're actually making the Bible not even supernatural anymore. You're making it into some history book when at least 1/3 is Bible prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, really crazy. But I mean, I have to say, when I had first heard about, the mark of the beast, because I got saved by reading Bible prophecy a zillion years ago. And I just found that very fascinating. But with the mark of the beast, I just thought, okay, it's just going to be this like little chip so you can't buy or sell. I could never really quite understand why when someone got the mark, how they wouldn't be able to get saved anymore. And it's like it totally makes sense now because they're now being controlled. They're not even themselves anymore. Now, there's something in your book and DVD series that you explained about scientifically why it has to be in the forehead or the hand. About heating it up, heating up making the battery keep on going. Can you explain that?
Yeah, that's biotechnology. That's a field that's been around for a while, and biomedicine and things of that nature. So one of the scientists that Dr. Carl Sanders, I believe his name was, he researched this for over a year and a half, and he was tasked with the charge of we need to create a charge, because if you got a chip, it's electronic. So that means you need to have a battery source. Well, you don't want to put a battery in person because that's dangerous. That's chemicals. It's battery. It's going to mess things up. So they look for a way with how can we get chips into people and produce an energy source just using the human body. So he was tasked with trying to figure out, okay, where on the human body, what's the best places on the human body that creates what's called a temperature fluctuation. And not to get too scientific, but the temperature fluctuation will allow them to create, because it's up or down, then they could create a voltage off of that, right? Because it's changing, going back and forth. So they can create a voltage off that. So that's the actual science behind it. And then it wasn't just that. So they figured out through temperature fluctuation that they can create a voltage and battery energy source to power the chips. After a year and a half of funding, he came back and he said, you know where the two best places in the human body that has the best temperature fluctuation? This is from him. He said at the back of the hand and the forehead. And then you think about that, the old-fashioned way, you grew up in the same generation I did, before all these fancy thermometers, where did mom and how did mom check your temperature? She put the back of her hand to your forehead, because those are the two areas where it's temperature fluctuation you can tell. And then it's like, oh, well, wait a second. And that just happens to be Revelation 13, the two places where the mark of the beast is going. There's no way it's by chance.
Absolutely. And, another thing that I found interesting is, the way they're going to market getting the chip. I mean, you explained some of it, of like, oh, wow, you'll be able to walk now. But the other, like marketing it for, to children is like, you too can now be superhuman. And I'm like thinking, wait a minute. So, we know this agenda's been going on forever. We know that it's not just like, the last 10 years. I mean, we know that they've been working on conditioning people's minds. And I'm like thinking, well, with children, when they just started, with Superman and having superheroes, and like, I really believe that they were using that to condition the children. So by the time they're offered this, yay, wow, I'll be superhuman too.
Yeah, well, and that's how they pitch it to the younger generation. Hey, don't you want to get an upgrade? I mean, we're all used to getting an upgrade for our phones. In fact, they can't wait for the next phone upgrade, or take the existing phone and upgrade that. So it's all about upgrades, right? Get the latest, the greatest upgrades to your phone. Well, how they're literally pitching it, already being done to the younger generations is, how about you get an upgrade? And they actually have terms for this, Janie. They literally envision a whole new humanity created in their image, not God's. These guys are arrogant. They believe they're the new gods, and this is on tape multiple times. They're the new gods of the planet with science and technology. And this new upgraded humanity, I'll give you a couple buzzwords for your viewers if they want to go check it out. One of Klaus's favorite words is augmented humanity. Another phrase they use is human 2.0. Don't you want to be an upgrade? Right? And they freely admit that it's a post-human species. So just search those three terms out and you'll have enough to keep you busy for a long time. It's in print. These guys admit what they're up to. Right? But most people are so distracted or so ill-equipped because they're going to a church that refuses to teach nearly 1/3 of the Bible. Hello, when you're supposed to teach the whole counsel of God. So, but this is really what's coming. So check that out. But you mentioned, I want to dovetail a little bit. You mentioned about you'd always wondered why the penalty was so severe for those in the 7-year tribulation who unfortunately took the mark. Well, now knowing what these guys are up to, you got at least a couple different options that you can say. I'm not going to say thus saith the Lord, but you can sort of fill in some of the blanks. And because the Bible's very clear, Revelation says for those who take the mark of the beast, basically in the vernacular, you're doomed. You are going straight to hell, and you are not going to pass go. You ain't collecting $200. You're going straight to hell, and it's over for you. Revelation 13 says those that take the mark of the beast, not once, not twice, 4 times they worship the beast. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just simply because they had the audacity to reject Jesus Christ, the one and only Christ, and they purposely worshipped the Antichrist. And maybe that's it. And they took his mark as an act of worship. Because it's not like, oh no, I was lying on the couch and I took a nap and they came in and planted the chip in me. No, you're going to choose to do that, including as an act of worship. But you put, okay, well, what have we been talking about? We've been talking about brain chips. We've been talking about getting a human upgrade. And a lot of the same technology that they're promoting, the same guys, you start to think about, well, wait a second. Maybe the reason why people who take the mark in the 7-year tribulation unfortunately can't get saved is because part of this technology they want to do, as we just talked about, they want to genetically modify people.